maybe a man in leadership, having a conversation with someone and you notice that you over-explained or started rambling. If you have found yourself in this situation, know that you are not alone. But in this video, we're going to talk about why over-explaining can be dangerous. Yes, very dangerous for your career as a leader. And by the end of this video, you'll learn why this is so dangerous, why people do it, and I'll give you at least one strategy to help you reduce the likelihood that you over-explain too much in a conversation. Now, I've seen this happen countless times again. It happens to leaders, it happens to executives, it happens to business owners. We'll go into a few more examples in just a few moments. But if you can master this skill, it will allow you to set yourself apart from everybody else. Now, if you are new to me, welcome. And if you're one of my absolutely amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. This channel heavily focuses in on advanced communication skills and strategies that will help you to develop an unfair competitive advantage as it relates to how you communicate under pressure. Now, let me know in the comments below if you've ever experienced a moment in your career where you over-explained. Put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. Now, let me give you some insight in terms of why this happens specifically. The reason why this happens has a lot to do with one of the critical aspects of communication that I discuss here on my channel at length. So if you like this content so far, you know you want to communicate at a higher level than your peers, then you absolutely want to subscribe to this channel. But it comes down to not being comfortable with silence. How many of you are comfortable with silence in a conversation? If you found yourself not comfortable with silence in a conversation, the reason why is because it's awkward, right? When you're having a conversation with someone and it's complete silence, there is an aspect of it that feels very just, like, what am I supposed to say? I don't like silence. However, if you are trained to communicate in those very high stakes, high pressure situations, you will become exceedingly comfortable with silence. Silence is something to not be afraid of. Silence can actually help you gain more leverage in a conversation and continue to showcase your executive presence. Now, I want to say hello and welcome to those of you watching the live today. Let me know, one, what part of the big, beautiful world are you joining from today? And two, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you over-explained or you rambled in a conversation? If so, put it in the comments below. Let's talk about it. I'm going to share with you today over 20 years worth of knowledge, expertise as a former senior executive. I've interacted with congressional leaders and I've been in some of those friendly and unfriendly conversations, so I'm here to help you. All right, we have Wagner William. Hello, Wagner. Wagner says, hello, good morning. I'm from Brazil. Well, welcome from Brazil. Fantastic. Wagner, no, I did ask, do you speak Portuguese? I do not speak Portuguese, but I do speak some Spanish, but I know two different dialects for sure. And we talked about why people over-explain. A lot of times people over-explain because they're not comfortable with silence. They're not comfortable with silence in a conversation. Therefore, they feel as if they have to say something because it's just awkward. But if you subscribe to my channel, or if you work with me directly at exciteexcellence.org, you will be able to start mastering this skill where you are more comfortable with silence. Now, we're going to talk about why this is so dangerous in just a moment. I want to say hello to, Humara. Says, what about France? Hope you're doing well today. I'm assuming you're joining from France. Why is it so dangerous to over-explain? I have seen countless opportunities become lost by over-explaining. I have seen business owners miss out on sales by over-explaining. I have seen leaders that are trying to negotiate a higher salary completely lose out on the opportunity because they over-explain. I have seen public officials communicate to their constituents and their audiences and over-explain to the point where they are not able to be reelected. I have seen CEOs try to communicate to board members about a project to get their buy-in so they can move forward with it, and I've seen them over-explain and not be able to have the project get started. it can be dangerous because you may have a point at a critical decision-making time in your career where you need an opportunity, or it would be very beneficial for you to opportunity. It may skyrocket your career. It may accelerate your growth, whether you are an entrepreneur, a business owner, a public official, whether you are a C-suite executive, a manager, director, regardless of what leadership role you're in. But if you over-explain and you talk too much when it's not appropriate to do so, it can cost you that opportunity. And that is the reason why I mentioned that this is dangerous, because sometimes it just takes one. It takes one opportunity for you to have that will skyrocket your career. And you do not want to be that person that makes that very critical mistake to just continue to talk and over-explain yourself. Now, I've shared with you why this is dangerous. It can cost you money. It can cost you opportunities. It can cost you growth. It could be a major setback in your life if you continue to over-explain, which is the reason why it's so dangerous to do that. Now, we've talked about why is this dangerous, but let's talk a bit about what can we do to prevent this from happening. For those of you joining, welcome. Let me know what part of the world you're joining from today. And if you've ever found yourself over-explaining in a conversation, put it in the comments below. Now, let's talk about how you can mitigate this risk when you are in those very high stakes, high pressure conversations, which we focus in here on this channel specifically. And for those of you, there's several of you that just joined, this channel helps you to develop an unfair competitive advantage as it relates to how you communicate under pressure as a leader. If you want to be that person that stands out from everybody else and does not make this mistake that we're talking about, then you absolutely want to subscribe to the channel and take a look at some of the playlists that I have that will help you to communicate under pressure. And if you're really ready to go to that next level, reach out to me at siteexcellence.org. Now, let's talk about a couple things that you can do, at least one thing that you can do to help you stop over-explaining. At the beginning of the live, I mentioned to you that the reason why people over-explain is because they are not comfortable with silence. Another part of that I would add just very briefly is that they may not be comfortable with what they're saying, or they may not be confident in what they're saying, and they believe that they have to defend themselves and continue to over-explain. But one of the strategies I tell my clients that I work with in a one-on-one or group setting is that when you make a statement, whatever that statement is, if it is going to be an impactful statement, a important statement, pause after you say it. Now, you may be wondering, well, how long do I pause for? Let me let you know. If you can pause for at least 3 to 5 seconds, that allows the conversation, the dialogue, to know that there's a break here. The reason why I say 3 to 5 seconds, because most people, when they're communicating and talking to other people, the conversation just continues to flow and there's no break in the conversation, meaning that there hasn't been the opportunity to let that other person that you're communicating with to be able to process and digest the information that you share. This is the reason why silence is so critically important, because I talk about this a lot on my channel. If you can master silence in a conversation, it helps you to have leverage. It helps you to develop your executive presence, and it allows you to be that exceptional communicator compared to the other person. Because most people, as I mentioned, they are completely uncomfortable with silence in a conversation. It feels awkward. So if you are the person that can be comfortable with silence, how amazing will you appear to be when you communicate? Let that sink in for a second. This is the reason why you subscribe to the channel, because we talk about this in detail. So I've shared with you the reason why over talking occurs. People are not comfortable with silence in a conversation. I have shared with you how this can be so dangerous. You may be at that brink of acceleration in your growth, in your career, in your business, and etc. And you find yourself in a situation where you over-explain and you lose it all. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. So please don't do that. But then I also gave you a strategy as to what you can technically do, strategically do, to be silent. Once you make a big statement, a very important statement, make sure you take a few moments to pause. 3 to 5 seconds at least. Now, if you like this information, you're always welcome to subscribe to my channel. I have over 1,100. Yes, that's a lot of videos. I have a lot of videos here that are dedicated to high stakes, high pressure communication for leaders that will help you to stand out from everybody else. There is a plethora of playlists. Actually, there's about four playlists that are there that will help you be able to communicate under pressure as well. This is my expertise, and this is what we talk about specifically here on the channel. Now, if you have any topics, or maybe you have a situation that you are specifically going through right now where it's challenging and you're not quite sure exactly what to say, how to say it, when to say it, or it's just very complex on a professional level, then send me a message on any one of my videos. I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out in the video when I respond to your question. I'm here to support you any way that I can. My mission here is to build the largest high stakes, high pressure communication content library here for leaders on planet Earth. And the only way that I'm going to be able to do that is with your help, and for you to give me any scenarios you're dealing with, so that years from now, decades from now, when people find themselves in a situation where they've been interrupted or they are dealing with a challenge that you are dealing with, they're able to reflect back and go back to some of the videos and say, oh, I remember that Dr. Jacinta talked about this specifically, this issue. Let me take a look at the video. I will be live later this afternoon. If you're new to me, I go live here on YouTube at least 7 to 8 times a week. I'm here to support you any way that I can. Come to me with the hard situations that you don't want